为了你们好好照顾你们，爱护你们，甚至做出付出、奉献还有牺牲。
We're here at the LA Asian Pacific Film Festival, and I have Arvin Chen, who is the director of Will You Still Love Me Tomorrow? Now, of course, it's a song that a lot of people know, so tell me how the song influenced the title and if it's in the film.
The song is actually in the film. We have a kind of a fantasy karaoke sequence, and it's a Taiwanese film, but the lead actress, Mavis, she sings that song in English in the film.
Yeah, so she sings it live in the film, like we hear her sing.
Yeah, and it's also, the film is a romantic comedy, but it's a very melancholy romantic comedy, so that song is kind of, thematically, it's kind of appropriate to what the movie is about, so.
Now, there's a lot of different sub-characters and sub-stories going on. What would you say is kind of like the main story? Is it, you know, I know the film kind of focuses on how people in Taiwan have a hard time accepting like a gay son. So is that kind of like the root, or?
Yeah, that was the movie has 2 or 3 stories, all related, but the main story came with that, which is about, in Taiwan there's still fake marriages, which means there's, you know, like a guy who knows he's gay will still marry into a straight marriage with a straight woman, basically only to appease his parents, or appease society or whatever. So it's basically about someone who's already been married for like 9 years, has a kid, has his wife, and his wife has no idea that he can't ever really fully love her. And he thinks that he's put that behind him, but then he has kind of a gay reawakening or a gay midlife crisis, and then there's a bunch of other little love stories that like surround that story that all have to do with his kind of changing his life. You know.
Yeah, so he meets a wedding photographer, right?
He meets a wedding photographer and that's his old friend who he thought that guy had maybe gone back to the closet, but he hasn't. Yeah. And it kind of pushes him to kind of think about why isn't he as happy as his friend. Yeah.
And the main character wants to have another kid, and it's kind of like that struggle because she has no idea that her husband's gay.
So she thinks like maybe the solution to their kind of drifting, you know, is like, oh, if they have another kid, that'll solve all the problems, you know, and clearly she has much bigger issues to deal with. Yeah.
Now, how did you come up with, you know, this is something real? So how were you, affected by it in your life that you wanted to make a film centering kind of around that topic?
Right. Well, I mean, it's not a personal story, but I had a lot of friends in Taiwan, gay friends who either had friends that had gone through this or people who had, you know, kind of dealt with similar issues. For me, I just looked at it as it's a love story. You know, it's not a traditional love story, which is what I thought was interesting, and it's not a traditional family story, which I thought was interesting. So I came at it more like that, and thinking this is a way. This story is a way to talk about, you know, modern love in Taipei and modern relationships, and then this kind of weird paradox in Taiwan where Taiwan's relatively open as an Asian country to homosexuality, and yet it's totally not open because, you know, there's all these kind of fake marriages. Yeah. So it was just a way to do something I thought that was, you know, about something in society that's actual real problem, but then do it in a way in which people wouldn't expect, which is as a romantic comedy.
阿凤，刚刚大臣还有过来 ask 你哦。
我真的很喜欢你。
我会让你穿帮的。
我不会穿帮的，我已经结婚了。
Where did you shoot?
We shot it, 95% was shot in Taipei, Taiwan, and then a very small portion was shot in Korea, in Seoul.
How did you get the funds or the accessibility and all that to shoot over there? Are you LA based or?
I'm based in Taipei now, though I'm from Northern California, but to be honest, it wasn't hard because in Taiwan, it's still considered kind of a commercial film, and the actors are relatively well-known, you know, pop stars. So it wasn't too hard to find. I mean, it's not a crazy budget, you know, so it's not too hard to do. But it's a modest film, you know. It's not a huge. There's not. We were to shoot on film. We had, you know, a pretty good cast, but the production isn't out of control. You know, it's all shot in one city. It's just about everyday life. So
tell us a little bit about the actors that are in the film. Who do we have in it, and you know, how did they get signed on?
Well, the 2 main actors are Richie Ren and Mavis Fan. Richie Ren plays the husband, and Mavis Fan his wife. And they're both ridiculously big pop stars, at least in Greater China. So it wasn't hard to get them to sign on just because they're always looking to do stuff that's different or challenging. I think the toughest part was to get rid of their kind of rock star or pop star persona, and not just their look, but, you know, to their mannerisms and, you know, the way they talk, even like kind of their their instinctive like personalities to try to tone those down to make them everyday people. So that was one of the most fun parts of the movie, actually. Yeah.
So you're gonna be, it's screening here at the LA Asian Pacific Film Festival. When people see this film, like, are you nervous? Like, you're kind of like watching everyone's face, hope they're laughing, or how do you experience this?
Yeah, it's a comedy, so when you always cringe when people don't laugh when you think they should laugh. And then it's also towards the end it becomes quite melancholy, and then I always want people to cry or be sad. So I'm sensitive to that. But as a West Coast, because this is our West Coast premiere, so I think the biggest thing about playing the West Coast or in America in general is I always hope that people can relate to the movie, even though it's in Mandarin and it's a Taiwanese film, just because I'm American, and I hope that like my Americanness still somehow finds a way for them to relate, even though superficially it's or on the surface it's completely not American.
Lastly, if people want to find out more about it, where's the website? Where do they go?
We have a Facebook website, but it just occurred to me that it's all in Chinese. So, probably if in America, our distributor is called Film Movement in New York. So they have a website or a Facebook page where they'll probably update, because it will get a small release in America in the year. So,
okay, perfect.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for talking with us. Sounds like a good movie. It sounds funny. So hopefully people see it and cry at the end. Then we know it did well.
Hopefully, yeah.
All right, thank you so much.
Will you still love me tomorrow? Will you still love me?